Today I'm doing beef and asparagus pasta toss. So the idea is to find something that makes very, very quickly for a quick meal. So we're going to do some things ahead of time, or I've already done some things ahead of time. What I have here is 3 cups of bow tie pasta. I'm going to put it in boiling salted water, bring that back to a boil, and then at this point we're going to set the timer for 7 minutes, which is not long enough to cook this type of pasta. But rather than have a separate dish of or boiling water, a little pan of boiling water, I'm going to actually add the asparagus to this for just the last 3 minutes because I don't want it to cook very long. So this comes back up to a boil and set it for 7 minutes. All right, I've got a pound of fresh asparagus that I've cut down pretty much in about 1-inch pieces or so. The tops are separate, of course, and we've snapped the tough ends off. We're just going to add this to the pasta that's already cooking and let that go for 2 to 3 minutes. And then check the pasta to see how it's doing. Okay, after your time, then go ahead and take a bite of your pasta. And if it's al dente, just a little bit of bite, then you're ready to go. So we're going to take this and we're going to drain it, and make sure that you drain it fairly well because we're going to add some other ingredients to it later, and we don't want to have a lot of stickiness from the pasta or a lot of water left in there. All right, I've also got a big skillet going, and one of the things I did to speed up this process was to brown the ground beef ahead. I've got about 2 teaspoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and 3 cloves of garlic. It's a little bit hot, I'm going to turn it down. And about 1/4 cup of minced onion. We're just going to stir this around. Let me turn it down a little bit more. We got the pan just a little hotter than I want. And just cook this until it's starting to have the onion turn a little bit clear. It may take, depending on the heat of your oven, this one's going, or your heat of your skillet, this one's going real fast, so it's not going to take very long. But it may take 3 to 4 minutes if you've got it down at a lower heat. Now my step to speed up dinner was to brown ahead a pound of extra lean ground beef. Now this you can do on Sunday when you're not busy, or Saturday, or just any other day during the week when you're already cooking ground beef. Go ahead and brown it up and drain it well so that you've got all the juices dripped away. And then I'm just adding it back simply because I want it to warm up. And this lets everything cook just a smidgen longer, lets the onion cook a little bit longer and the garlic, but it's not really cooking at this point, it's just warming. I'm going to add to that 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and just stir those together well. And when it's all warmed up, we're just going to set that aside and come back over here and get a very large bowl, because I've been known to have things go where I don't want them. Shake as much of that water as you can off the pasta with the asparagus. And we cooked that asparagus a short time for a couple of reasons. One is that the tips are so delicate that we didn't want to over soften them. And also because asparagus itself is a very delicate flavor. We just really need to warm it up too, just tenderize it just a smidgen. We're going to add our ground beef and onion mixture to this with that nice garlic flavor. And we're simply going to toss those together. Now at this point, it'd be a good idea if you went ahead and tasted that one more time just to make sure that the seasoning was good, see if you wanted to add any more pepper to that. I don't think it will need any more salt because I cooked the pasta in salted water. If you had cooked the pasta in plain water, then you might find here at the other end that you've got to add more salt to it. So really the best way to get that flavor into the pasta is to use salted water, unless you're on a sodium restricted diet. I'm going to put this on a nice platter, or at least as much of it as going to fit on this nice platter. And here you have a meal that's very quick. As you can see, the thing that took the longest since we did the browning of the ground beef ahead of time was simply a matter of getting the water to boil for the pasta. And you could use a different shape of pasta if you wanted to. Bow ties are fun, they're kind of pretty and they're kind of different, but you could use a different shape as long as it was similar in size. I probably wouldn't use a heavy tube type of pasta. I'm adding about 1/4 cup of chopped Italian parsley over the top of it just to give it a little bit more color. And then because I thought it was just not colorful enough, I also chopped up about 1/4 of a cup of cherry or grape tomatoes and put those on the top just to add a little bit more color and a little bit of flavor. If you wanted to, you could add them in a little bit earlier and stir them in. They would soften up a little bit, but I wanted all the color to be up here on the top. I hope this is one that you'll try for a quick meal that's very nutritious, low in fat, and high in nutrition. For Oklahoma Gardening, this has been Beef and Asparagus Pasta Toss.